Before we begin, I want to take a moment to remind you about the upcoming Moving Titan Retreat, October 2nd through the 4th in Tampa, Florida. This will be the only large-scale independent moving conference in North America this year, and you are not going to want to miss this opportunity to hear from 8- and 9-figure moving and home service entrepreneurs and experts while masterminding with up to 500 moving company owners. We're bringing back Tommy Mello, Sean Crane, and Reagan Weiss for 2.5 days, and this isn't going to be some motivational rah-rah event. We are specifically focusing on tactical strategies that you can immediately take home and start multiplying your business headed into the fall and winter. And make sure that you never have another slow winter and off season again. We'll have more networking opportunities, more vendors setting up displays, and a full day workshop on day 3 where you can work directly one-on-one with Tommy and the other speakers to dial in your business. There might even be some surprise guests and entertainment. But don't wait to lock in your tickets. Early bird tickets are the lowest they will ever be, and prices go up July 1st. Visit movingtitanretreats.com. That's movingtitanretreats.com, or check the link in the description and lock in your tickets before prices go up or before we sell out. We'll see you there. At Two College Brothers Moving, Storage, and Franchising, we are Team SmartMoving. This has been the CRM that we have used for the last 4 years, and it has grown right alongside with us. I love all the features, all the reporting tools, how easy it makes to schedule, book, sell, dispatch crews. It really is an intuitive software. It's really dialed in without the bugs and the glitches that we've experienced with other softwares in the past. So it still amazes me if a company is not using a CRM. I still find companies that are doing it the old-fashioned way with spreadsheets and calendars and notes and handwriting job orders, and you don't have to do that with SmartMoving. That's a bottleneck that's holding you back if that's you. So make the switch to SmartMoving, whether you're using a CRM or not. It truly is the smartest move you'll ever make, just like we tell our clients that we're the smartest move you'll ever make. So check out SmartMoving today and schedule your free demo. Well, let's jump into the pod here. We got one of our future speakers at the next Moving Titan Retreat, Chris Knowles, joining us out of True Friends Moving in Nashville, Tennessee. And Chris is one of the OG Titans. I've known Chris, probably going on 6 or 7 years now, I think.
At least.
Yeah, I know we went to that. I mean, we knew each other before we went to that 10X conference back in 2019. And man, it's been fun watching you grow. Like, just when I think we first met, you were probably doing like 3 million a year, and now you're just blowing up. You've got all kinds of storage units in the works. You got all kinds of stuff. And I know you're going to be speaking a little bit on like reinvesting your profits from moving into real estate and storage. But why don't you just go ahead and tell the audience, in case, I know we did a podcast years ago, but if they haven't heard that one, why don't you go ahead and just kind of tell people who you are?
Yeah. So Chris Knowles, founder and president here of True Friends Moving Company. You know, we've scaled from just myself on a truck up to now like 22 trucks. We operate out of 3 locations. We've gotten into real estate, most recently in the last few years. So excited to talk more about that. How to grow, your wealth and your net worth through real estate, through the moving company itself. I mean, I've built a great business. It's finally at a place now where I feel like it's a machine. I don't have to be here as much. So it actually gives me more freedom to, dive into other things like, personal development, like real estate. So just excited to be here and excited to definitely come speak at the next conference. I've definitely got some great stuff to talk about. And really just the path, the plan of how you can be doing it, because it's really the biggest way to move the needle for your net worth.
Yeah, man. And you've been a huge supporter of all of the Titan stuff. You came out to the very first OG Moving Titan Retreat. I mean, even when it was before Moving Titans, when it was just informal mastermind meetups during COVID, and before that, like you've you've always been there. You've been a part of the OG crew that has now blossomed into this huge thing, and you've just taken off along the way. So with 22 trucks, like what kind of revenue range are you looking at with True Friends these days?
Well, we're up from last year, up about 22%. Last year
Nice.
was a dip, clearly, like the rest of the industry.
Hmm.
I feel like we're on pace to do around right under 7 million this year.
Awesome. And so you said you have three locations. I know you've got kind of a small operation in Tampa where
Mhm.
I'm based out of.
Yep.
Where's the other location?
So our main flagship store is here in Nashville. We cover all of Middle Tennessee. And then 2 years ago, we launched a satellite location in Clarksville, and that's been paying off well. We actually bought a storage facility up there as well. So we're
Nice.
actually able to have an actual location, and we still dispatch the crews out from here because it's about an hour away. But Clarksville and Fort Campbell area, it's like right on the line of Tennessee, and it's just such a booming area. It's like one of the fastest growing industrial areas in Tennessee. So excited to cover that area as well. And actually, last year we won Best Mover for Clarksville, which was huge.
Nice.
Our first year out of the gate, and for a city that's just blowing up like that, we're definitely excited to call it, one of ours for sure. But they've actually
Yeah.
got voting going on for it again right now, so we're definitely trying to hold on to that spot.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome. I know you win it like every year in Nashville, which is a super competitive market. I mean,
Yeah, super
Nashville's been
competitive.
blowing up, and you've got
Yeah,
some other really strong companies out that way. We've got our best of the best for Tampa coming up starting next week, June 5th to the 25th. So shameless plug there for anybody listening if they hear this during that window to vote, go vote. But what's been your secret to winning those best of competitions? Because we won it. I think won it 6 or 7 times up in Gainesville,
yeah.
and I've been trying so hard to win it in Tampa these last several years, and we've been finalists a few times. We were finalists last year, but we can't seem to just get the votes to get that first place, despite our
Yeah.
previous efforts. I'm curious to hear some of your strategies on that.
So there's tons of like pocket cities, metro areas around Nashville. I mean, Best of Nashville is like the biggest and best one. That's honestly the only one that I actually like will market out to our, referral partners and previous clients to vote for us. So there's Best of Music City and Best of Nashville. We've won both of those the last 3 years in a row. And then spotty here and there. I didn't really have the system dialed in before. We would kind of like lose a couple years, win a year, lose a few years, stuff like that. But now we're like consistent every year. So we're excited about that one. But for those, I'll actually promote, I'll actually ask my friends to vote on. We will actually create, our email campaign to send out to all of our previous clients and things like that. And then for the other like smaller local areas, which them honestly have just as much bragging rights. I mean, there's some cool areas around Nashville that isn't Nashville. And so like we just won Best of Mount Juliet, just won Best of Sumner County. Those are huge areas. I think the most recent one got like 300,000 votes. So I mean, definitely some big time publications involved. And what's cool about when you win those, when you market to those little areas, like when we do SEO or when we do like social media campaigns, like we'll have that targeted for that specific area. So that really just sets us apart in being able to book those jobs too, because they really gives it a huge like local feel, even though we might be on the other side of town.
Gotcha. That
Yeah,
makes sense. I know. Yeah, there's a lot of like little like best of the Bay, Tampa Bay. There's
yeah,
one through like the newspaper, Tampa Bay Times. I know Gainesville has a couple like Our Town, best of the best, and so yeah, I think just getting winning something,
yeah. I'd say
definitely
though
boosts your
the biggest,
credibility.
I'd probably say the biggest maybe secret to that. Reach out to the top players in the other categories, like because they're going to
Oh,
be in there voting every day. There's nobody going to be voting more than the people that work for those businesses, and usually they have to vote like five other ones. So like make sure that like you're actually sharing the love and let them know, hey, vote for us while you're in there, and of course we'll vote for you while we're in there. If you got just 20 other people that's doing the same thing, you're talking about, just the reach is going to be, the exposure is just going to be next level.
yeah, that's a great idea. Just kind of form those alliances and
Definitely.
have some kind of big party together if everybody wins or something. Yeah, we're gonna call a mover meeting the day that it starts, and I'm gonna be cooking eggs and pancakes or whatever on a skillet for all the guys, and like
Nice.
basically just make it, hype them up to get them to vote every single day, to get their friends, family to vote every single day. Just make it a big deal and tell them we'll do some kind of big fun something. Maybe I don't know. Well, we got to think of like some motivating event to like, if we win it, to get them, all on board to
Yeah.
go have a good
Getting your
time.
staff involved, letting them share the content. Same with like hiring, same with recruiting, promoting, whatever. Like we always try to get our team to share stuff. Like if you see it on True Friends, share it. We definitely, we'll give them a shout out for that. So it goes a long way when everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid, and everybody's really pushing for it. I mean, of course, when you win, there's got to be a big surprise and something that we celebrate, as a team.
Absolutely. And I see that Inc. 5000 award behind you there. When did you guys win that? Well, how did you
We've
get?
actually won the last 3 years, man.
Oh, wow.
That's another, like the last 3 years, man. We've just been like killing everything. It seems like, but definitely the Inc. 5000 is huge. Top 5,000 companies in America, fastest growing. We actually did that, and also the fastest growing trucking and logistic company, in America. So to have some pretty cool, awards hanging around the office, it helps with recruiting. It helps, if we get walk-ins, which we don't get a whole lot, but they just know like you can't grow at that kind of pace without having, doing it the right way.
Yeah. When is the voting window for Inc. 5000 or the nomination window? Like, what does that process look like to apply?
It's going on right now.
Oh, is it
All
really?
you have to do is send over your last 3 years tax returns, and to see, make sure you qualify. And then, of course, you're just against all the other people that apply. But excited to say we've done the last 3 years in a row.
Dang, that's good to know. I'm gonna check that out after this call. So, like, what is it? Is it the fastest like top line revenue growth, or is it the fastest like profit growth? Like, what's
So
the?
from where you were 3 years ago, so whatever it was 3 years ago, like every year that last 3 years will fall off, and then it'll be the percentage of growth from the last 3 years, and then
Okay.
consistently, essentially the last 4 years we've done it, and we've made that the cut to be able to claim that, which is pretty awesome.
And so it goes by just overall revenue. Then is
Yep.
that okay? Nice. And are there any other requirements to get like to be eligible for it?
I think they do background checks, make sure you're actually licensed, but mainly just tax returns. I mean, if your tax returns are going to show what your income, what you claimed for that year, and you just got to send in your last three.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, I'm definitely going to look into that once we get off here. That I've seen some companies get that. You're one of the few in the moving industry that I've seen win it. But that'd be a huge one to hang your hat on, I'm sure.
Yep.
What do
Definitely.
you attribute to the growth that you've seen over the last few years? Like what especially since last time we did our podcast, I think I said like 3 million, but you may not even have been there. You might have been 2 million or less
It was
when our
probably in
very
the
first
twos. I don't
podcast.
know. Was it 2019 when we did our last podcast?
It was probably somewhere around there. Yeah, I don't have to
Okay.
go back through and look. It was definitely one of the early ones though.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. 2020, man. I mean, it just blew up. I mean, I think for everybody, it was like shooting fish in a basket. But really just the culture, man. I said that before. I mean, we're huge on culture. That's really our biggest, thing that we've done. But really, hiring, recruiting, making sure that we have the right people in place to be able to scale. I think that's really been, the way that we've been able to maintain that level of growth, compared to our competitors in our market. Because we definitely have the largest fleet here in Nashville, and I feel like we definitely do the most moves here in Nashville. So, we kind of looked up to in a lot of those guys, and they wondered, just how we do it. But really, culture, making sure that we're one of the top paid in the area, and it's just somewhere people want to be.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of your videos. You guys do a big Christmas party every year where you've got
Oh
your
yeah.
blue Santa suit or your blue suit with like, I think it's like a
Hey, I
Santa
want
suit.
a blue Santa suit. We might bust that out this year, man. We haven't done that yet, but we got the big chopper mascot. People love that. But yeah, man, the Christmas parties go a long way. We always try to take it up a notch. something really classy. A lot of these guys don't get to go to like, black tie type events. So to be able to, offer that to them and just have a real, upscale type venue, it's really nice to give back, man. And the guys think about that, talk about that, and share the pictures about that for months.
I love that, man. And I've actually worked with some of your guys. I think they bailed us out of a situation, I don't know, a year or two ago where we had a truck roll over up in Tennessee, and they were there on a Saturday within like 2 hours.
I'm glad we could accommodate, man, for sure.
Man.
Sometimes it isn't always that lucky to just have guys available, but it worked out for you for sure.
Yeah, they were great every step of the way. And if you guys listen to this, don't follow Chris on social media, you have to, because he's always posting like spot on, motivational things. He's got just a lot of good content. Most of you have heard me talk about Moversville and the power of their email marketing service that has helped us increase leads by over 112% over the last year. But have you heard of Moversville Connect? Moversville Connect is an incredible resource for all things moving. They feature an array of vendors and services and lists like insurance providers, softwares, equipment suppliers, marketing sources, and much, much more. The best part, this resource is free. Go check out Moversville Connect today by going to moversville.com and clicking Connect. That's moversville.com and click Connect and discover the world of Moversville beyond email.
One of the worst parts about owning a moving company has to be finding quality movers and drivers. Trying to run all the job ads takes up time, and then you schedule guys to come in for interviews and they never show up. It's a massive headache. Well, let me tell you about a good friend of mine named Winston who runs a company called Move Up Consulting. Move Up specializes in hiring and recruiting for the moving and storage industry, and they do all the lead generation for mover and driver candidates. They have a fully built hiring CRM, plus you get a dedicated account manager who phone interviews and screens all of your candidates. Once they find qualified candidates, they schedule in-person interviews for you and your management team so you can make great hires. They even handle all the appointment confirmations. It's that simple. To start building a better moving team today, visit moveupconsulting.com and tell them Wade sent you.
Want to know what the silver bullet for growing your business is? USA Home Listings. USA Home Listings has a myriad of marketing services that are essential to every single moving company. It blows my mind when I have conversations with people who reach out looking for help, trying to get leads, trying to get the phone to ring, that aren't doing mailers and aren't subscribed to USA Home Listings. The data there is so invaluable, and it's not just home listing data, even though that's an awesome, super easy, super intuitive feature that they provide where you can filter out all of the homes that recently went under contract or got listed in your neighborhood, and a new coming soon feature before it even hits the MLS that you can filter out through zip codes, towns, cities, counties, prices. But that's just one small feature that they do. They also have turnkey mailing services. They'll help you design your postcard, a postcard that actually gets results. If you've tried mailers in the past and it didn't work, it's probably because you didn't have the right elements on your postcard. And they also have a social media division. So check out usahomelistings.com. It's an essential addition to all of your marketing needs. Before you do any other marketing, check out usahomelistings.com. I see, you're doing a lot of stuff in the real estate space. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, what's your storage side of your operation look like? I know you've got like self-storage units. I don't think you don't really do like the warehouse style of storage like we do you? Or is it mostly all self-storage?
Yeah, all self-storage. We don't do warehouse. So when I was kind of, going back and forth with the model, it was more about the real estate play than the actual revenue generated. Because I feel like long term, a lot of the people that are in the warehouse style of storage, they don't own the business. So some of these people pay $10, $20, $30, $40,000 a month leases. And I'm just like, geez, if I just couldn't stomach paying that to another person. So, getting into the self-storage part of it, I was just excited to be a long-term real estate play, at the same time. So, investing into that, I say, first and foremost, finding a place to work out of would probably be my first step into getting your own real estate, really start building that net worth. Because, moving companies, whether we like it or not, they don't usually sell for that great of a multiple, if they can even sell at all. So taking some of those funds and actually putting it into real estate, something that's going to keep going up every year, something that you get, tax breaks on, something that you get depreciation on. I mean, there's just so many benefits to owning real estate. And when I saw that, and when I started diving into that, I've only been into real estate now for about 3.5 years. And I've watched my net worth go like 5 times what I was doing from 8 years in the moving industry. Assuming that the moving company is just what it's worth. But to see it go from that to that in a third of the time, it's like, wow, this is definitely the area that I need to be investing in and spending more of my time. Although I absolutely love the moving industry, and it's the machine, it's the catalyst that makes the other things possible. So I'm just trying to talk about how you can get there, what you can do, and how you should be doing that if you really want to build that network.
Yeah, and that's been cool to watch too, because when we went to the 10X Growth Con, you're one of the most coachable people that I've ever met. You've been to so many conferences, business development things, and I mean, I knew when we were sitting there together, you're like, oh yeah, that program's great. I got that one last year when I was here, and you actually put that stuff into place. And I've read the Rich Dad Poor Dad things, and one of the things that Rich Dad Poor Dad teaches is whether you have a job or whether you own a business, that should ultimately be a means to acquiring income that you can put into real estate, which can be your long-term passive income. And even if you look at the cash flow quadrant that they talk about in Rich Dad Poor Dad, you've got your employee, you've got your self-employed, you've got your business owner, and then you've got your investor. And the goal is to get to that investor category.
Definitely.
And even a business owner, although it's technically supposed to be less hands-on than a self-employed person in that category, you still have to be involved. It still requires some of your time. You've got to build that culture, even if it runs without you, with systems and processes. As a business owner, I mean, you can never fully be completely hands-off, but you can in real estate. I mean, even if you're a business owner that only works 4 hours a week, just looking over reports and having a couple meetings with your top execs, in order for that business to truly, make sure everything's on track, you got to pay attention. Whereas real estate, I mean, you can hire out a management company to basically, do everything, and you just get that mailbox money every single month. Are you
more so with commercial, man? Commercial, you don't get the calls, for leaky toilets or any issues. They pay the taxes, they actually fix up your property. So I just had one for lease come up about maybe 6 months ago. And awesome situation. The guy has already put about $70,000 in upgrades and renovations into the building, into the parking lot, into the lighting, electricity, everything. So that I didn't have to pay for that, but that actually makes my property value go up. Not to mention he's paying the note. I'm making money at the end of the day, and I'm getting the depreciation, the tax benefits, while the thing is going up in value at the same time. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about your current real estate portfolio. What do you got going on currently?
Oh man. So my first first building that I bought. So I was looking for a place to work out of at my moving company. And I was just working out of a little strip mall. Then I had a little parking lot next door to park my trucks at. We had them parked in there 4 deep, and then another 4 in front of that, another 4 in front of that. More accidents happen in that truck yard than anywhere else. It was crazy, but tiny little office. And so when I finally found this other facility, it was around 4,000 square feet, but it was total disrepair. I mean, we had to pretty much rebuild the whole building, redo the parking lot, fix the roof. I mean, it needed a lot of work, but all that work is called adding value. So you're essentially adding value to yourself and making the property worth more. So not only, when I bought it, the property was great. I saw the potential. And, but after putting that money into it, boom, not only was it worth what I put into it, but it actually 3x the value of the property. And now it's one of the hottest things on even this street. So excited to do that. That was really my first big play that I got into real estate, kind of got my feet wet. After that, I bought a facility, actually a lot, a commercial lot. All right, let me rewind a little bit. So at the same exact time that I bought that facility, there was a lot next door to one that I wanted to grow at. But before we could even get in there, we actually outgrew it. when I actually did all the plans and everything, like they said, the max that I would park the trucks with my with the building that I was able to build, I think was about 11, 12 trucks, something like that. And we were pretty much already there. So when I found this other one, it was a lot more, it was a lot easier to renovate and move into and scale. So I actually ended up picking those up about the same time. And that actually is one of the ones that I rented out recently. So picked up those two. Then I actually picked up, I think a year later, I picked up a storage facility. So I bought my first storage facility. That was in Clarksville, which is like a suburb outside of Nashville. Excited to do that. That's probably the best investment I've ever made. That property in the last few years has went up probably about 4x in value. I would say self-storage facilities, man, the multiples on those are just crazy. If you ever wanted to sell it or anything, when you start building it up and getting it like stabilized. So thankfully I bought that from an older owner operator that was just kind of just ready to retire. They saw they had a nest egg, but didn't really want to fool with it anymore. They ran a trucking business out of it. And so when I bought it, some of the terms when I got it, well, I was able to not only buy it from them, but lease back some of the property to them. So not only was the storage unit cash flowing out of the gate, also was able to rent one of the other buildings to them out of the gate. And then, of course, charge them for truck parking, which was huge. I didn't even know truck parking was a big thing or a big demand. And then also picked up a warehouse right next door. It's like 8,000 square foot, rent that out to a big tire company. So altogether, man, that one property in Clarksville generates like just amazing revenue, man. Like I said, that thing went up about 4x in value. And thankfully, like I haven't, like if I ever needed to use any of the equity for other projects, I can. And so I'm kind of waiting on the market to kind of, go move a little bit. So because I haven't had to make that, to pull any equity or use any lines of credit against some of these properties yet. But when the time comes, I can definitely do that. So that's another huge play with real estate, man, is using leverage of your own property. It's like you're borrowing from yourself. So that money just, keeps building and multiplying while other people are paying for it. So it's like, it's a no-brainer.
So you've got your current facility where you operate your moving company out of, you own that.
Yep.
And then you have another commercial space that you lease out to somebody else. And then you've got the storage facility that you bought. How many units are in the storage facility? How many total?
That one has 252 units. Wow. It's a good mix, about 60-40. 2 of the buildings is climate controlled, 2 of them is non-climate.
Okay. In case you haven't already heard about it, I want to tell you about the latest project that I've been working on called Tighten Up Training. And it's not just me, it's 3 other world-class moving company owners from around North America that have pooled together our resources, our time, and our knowledge to bring you the #1 training program for moving companies in the world. We've got over 200 videos on mover training, sales, culture, leadership, and we're continuing to add more and more to streamline training. We gamify the process in short little videos that are easy for your team to follow, and they're quizzed on retention. Rather than spend hundreds of thousands of dollars of your own money and months of your time tying up resources away from your own moving company, we're bringing you Tighten Up Training for less than the cost of 1 damage claim a month or less than the cost of booking 1 extra move per month. You book 1 extra move, it pays for itself. You save the time to have to take away time from your day or pay somebody to train new employees and to onboard new employees, it pays for itself. You avoid 1 damage claim or book 1 extra move a month, you got it. It pays for itself. It's so affordable. And we put so much time, money, and resources into this to build out something that our companies can use every day so that we can tighten up this summer and reduce claims. Since our company has gone on here, we're booking more jobs than ever, and we're reducing more claims than we've ever had. And we are teed up to have the best summer ever. So check out Tighten Up Training. Schedule a free 30-minute demo today by going to tightenuptraining.com. And then I saw on social media you're breaking some ground to build something. Is that what is that?
Yeah, recently we actually just developed a storage facility. So like this is my first time, like I've renovated a building, but never like developed from the ground up. So just added it's part 1 of a part 2, development for storage. So we built all the non-climate out It's about 12,000 square foot. I believe it's around 78 units total. Just good mixed use, 12,000 square foot facility. And then once we built that, boom, the value of it doubled just by building it. I mean, it took a long time. When you build something from the ground up, it does take a lot of time. I would say having a great, project manager or, commercial contractor definitely saved me on that. I probably wouldn't have kept pushing it as much had I not hired them. So until you just have all the, skill sets needed to develop it on your own and keep that thing moving through the municipalities, I would definitely say hire it out. You'll learn an valuable amount of knowledge and skills through that process. But it's definitely a great investment, man. And that thing's already cash flowing, so we got that one going. And then recently, when I got into the storage facility with the truck parking, told you this last time we were in Tampa. So I bought that storage, and we was able to squeeze in about 26 semi truck parking spots, and didn't realize the demand for the truck parking. Like I said, it's we get more calls and demand for truck parking than we do for storage. So I'm like, shoot, I need another truck parking facility. And then last year I actually found this amazing property. It's actually about 18 industrial acres. One of them came with the 18,000 square foot facility that we're currently developing, and it has. I've already finished with all the parking. Already finished with the the parking itself. We were able to squeeze in 101 semi truck parking spots. That's a whole different business right there, though. So that's probably the most exciting thing that I'm working on currently. And that's kind of a business, but it's also a huge real estate play. That property also has went up probably about 4x in value since I bought it. And then, once I get that thing stabilized, it's honestly going to pay me way more than my moving company ever did. And the best thing about it is going to require one person to run it. Moving into real estate, man, for the passive part of it, it's I swear there's really no better way to put your money. If you got extra funds to do things with, man, it's a game changer.
Yeah. So basically, okay. So I'm just trying to keep track of everything here because you got a lot going on.
Sorry, man. I'm talking so quick. I'm excited.
I'm excited too because this is really interesting for me. So you've got the two commercial properties. You've got about 251 or so, 252 units in the self-storage facility. You've got the unit there, the place that you just built on some raw land that's like 70 something units. And then you've got, 12 acres of truck parking on like raw land that I'm assuming you paved over that has like 101 semi-truck parking spots.
Yeah, it's all paved right now. And some of that project, like the building part of it, was actually still under development. That's going to be 5 flex space warehouses. So it has an 18,000 square foot warehouse on it right now. And but flex space is like one of the hottest demand asset classes right now. So it's going to be essentially about 2,000 to 3,000 square foot a piece flex space warehouses that I'll rent to 5 different tenants. And then a piece of that warehouse is going to have a trucker's lounge for a place, because the goal is when truckers get off the road, they got somewhere to come and lounge and shower. It's a blue ocean opportunity, man. And nobody that I've talked to is really doing that type of business with that space. Truckers are, there's more truckers out there it's such a just forgotten about industry, and nobody takes care of them, man. If you drive down the road at night, you see truckers sitting on the side of off ramps, man. It's sad, man. They're neglected and they don't have enough parking. Didn't really realize how big of a problem or demand it was. And then, like I said, once I got the truck spaces kind of by accident, I'm like, wow, this is a big problem, man. And I started looking for a way to find a solution, essentially.
Dude, that is so cool. So when you stumbled upon that and you built like your self-storage facilities are in the process of building, like, did you find a contractor that specializes in the self-storage, or like how did you like coordinate all that? Like, what was the development process like?
Yeah, man. So I did. I found a guy, a buddy of mine, a different buddy who owns moving storage facilities. He actually used this person to develop it. And when I was getting bids, he was one of the guys that I interviewed and got a bid from. Bid was right. We hit it off too, man. He's a great guy to work with, and like I said, from start to finish, man, they've been great. now I know a lot more about developing, real estate. So to learn that over about a year process, I mean, like I said, that's invaluable. So, and they're actually the same ones that's going to do phase 2 of that facility. So the next facility right next door, we're actually building a 2-story climate controlled storage, units there. So it'll just connect to it. Just kind of wanted to get it all cash flowing before I moved over to phase 2.
Dang, that's so cool. So do you do any residential real estate at all, or is it all pretty much just
So
the
I
commercial
did.
stuff, or do you have anything else?
I did a residential flip last year, and it was good. I mean, but it just wasn't the same. So I feel like my time and resources spent on it wasn't as good had I spent the same time and resources on commercial. I think it was about a 4 or 5 month process. I think I made about $18,000 once it was sold. That was kind of like it was a duplex, residential flip. It was good. It's like my first real flip. It was definitely fun to say I've done it, but I can't say I want to do it again. It was a lot more of just time and resources, and of course it goes over budget because when it's your first time doing it, you start doing things that are your opinion versus like make whether it's going to be revenue generating or not. So I probably did put a lot more into that place than I actually needed to. But lessons learned, man. I'm going to stick with what I know, and stick with the commercial. Like I said, time and resources is just a better time well spent. But yeah, I mean, me and my wife, we've got residential properties that we use as like rentals, things like that. We've got a studio. We've got a couple of houses that we rent out, but those are nothing compared to these commercial projects.
Gotcha. And so as far as like how these are structured, do you have any like investment partners that go into any of this stuff with you, or is it all self-financed? Or, I mean, how do you?
The bank. The bank is my partner. I have to put up, usually at least 20 to 30%. And then I kind of get notes for the rest, and then,
Got it.
For the most part, all the renovations and remodels and just adding value I've been able to do with actual revenue, that we have and savings and things like that. Up until recently, I mean, I didn't really haven't really needed a partner. So now that I've got, I want to grow, I realize that I can't do it all if I want to grow. Like you can't have 30% of unlimited income. So, there it is. So I'm excited to, as we get into the next phase, actually start looking for other investors and looking for people to partner with. Because I've honestly just been scared to ask people, partner with people, anything like that. I've only, known how to do things myself, and my capabilities is like, I never wanted to, get anyone else involved for the fear of that I would mess up, honestly, because I didn't know what I didn't know. So, now I feel like I've done it enough times that I can definitely do it again. And I feel a lot more comfortable, using someone else's money at ours together as opposed to just the bank as my partner.
Yeah, one thing I've learned over the years, so I had partners in my moving company for about, I think like, I don't know, 6 years or so. And I ended up buying them out because I realized like partners can be excellent to leverage for like passive income opportunities or side projects that you want to do. But when it comes to like your day to day, I personally, maybe, and everybody's different, but I don't like having a partner that I have to run things by with my day to day income stream. Like when what I do on a daily basis, like I want full control over the decisions that I make. I don't want to have to answer to anybody. I don't have to run things by people. But when it comes to like other passive opportunities like real estate or, side projects like the Moving Titan Retreat and Tighten Up Training, partners are awesome because now you have a whole team and you can put your heads together, you can put your resources together, and you can leverage a lot more. But when it comes to like my day-to-day moving company, I realized that, this is like my lifestyle. So like I want to be able to, not have to answer anybody when I come to work, when I leave work, what I do with the money that we make, like what, how, all that kind of a thing. And then, that's just me. But I feel like something like real estate, there's a great analogy that I really like. And it's, would you rather have a slice of a watermelon or a whole grape? And the idea behind that is like a watermelon gives you a whole bunch more fruit, even if you only have a slice of it. And, the partners have the other slices. Whereas, yeah, you own that whole grape, but it's only a small amount of sustenance.
Yeah.
And I think that, collaborating on something really big picture, you can get a lot of leverage, a lot of, a lot of resources, a lot of, spread, get a lot more things done when there's multiple people working, especially if it's a strategic partner where your skill sets complement each other. Like Chad and I work so well together because he's very like operationally oriented, like nuts and bolts, like, structure, disciplined when it comes to setting budgets and finances. And I'm like, let's get freaking Alex Hormozy and Jordan Belfort at the, like, let's like do all this crazy stuff. And so like we keep each other in check. And I think that's really important too, is that when you do find partners, whether it's real estate or, some other business opportunity, like they're strategic. Maybe they've got a huge network of other people that they can, get access to, whether it's other investors or other knowledge. One thing that we're talking about doing at some point with the community and the Moving Titans is trying to facilitate like a roll-up deal at some point with moving companies that want to opt in. And I think, having partners in those capacities to where we could have somebody in every market, and then we leverage, a partnership with somebody who has the private equity backing and who has the the real estate knowledge and the bankers on speed dial, and that side of the business, the Wall Street side of the business, where we know the moving, they know the money, and then we can collaborate those resources. That's probably like a 5 to 10 year potential plan. But
if a moving company is looking to sell, there's no better way than the roll up model, really. Following the speaker Tommy Mello's model, and it's like, would you rather it be worth this much or be worth, 3 times more just by calling it this? So if you can get over your own vanity, man, it's going to pay you more. So like, why not?
And that's the secret right there, is like the egos. Cause like we're all like, we've got that like alpha ego mentality, and it's how can we overcome that together for potentially a huge payout? Cause we've been talking to some people that are in that space, Tommy Mello being one of them. And basically, you could, like you mentioned, your moving companies are tough to sell. And the multiples that you might get on your EBITDA is going to be like 2 to 4x for just if you're an owner operator of a moving company, about the size of our businesses, 4 to 7 million. Really, we're limited to our buyer's market because you still, are still involved in that. And then if you can basically make your company turnkey, and you can be bringing in a gross revenue of $10 million or more and an EBITDA of $2 million or more, your multiple can now be closer to like 6 to 8x. But if you're able to combine several EBITDAs and several gross revenues in different markets and different lines of work, like a company that specializes in commercial, a company that specializes in long haul, a company that specializes in local, maybe you have a franchising division, then all of a sudden your EBITDA can, not only it all adds together, but your multiple can be 20 to 30x with the, the right size, because now you become very interesting to private equity investors and even Wall Street for a
when you go
potential
from
IPO.
Like small, medium business to enterprise level business, that's the difference. You're talking about enterprise value. You got big time firms that are, investment companies that would want to gobble you up at that point. Nobody really wants the mom and pop or small businesses as much as they want those big roll ups that can, keep bundling them in. Once you start that model in that process, it's a lot easier to keep bundling them in.
That's right. And so few people have done it in moving. It's so fragmented. I think it's a $25 billion industry in North America. And the biggest moving company, including the van lines, I think the biggest is Unigroup. And I want to say that they might do 1 to 2 billion in annual revenue out of 25 billion. And everything else is fragmented. You've got a few van lines that are doing, 500 million or whatever. Yeah. You've got JK Moving, the largest independent. I think they're probably around 200 million. But you look at an industry like Tommy Mello's with the garage door space, and before he started to build his empire, they reported that industry was only like 200 to 300 million. Garage doors alone was like a 200 to 300 million dollar industry. Now Tommy's doing that all on his own with A1, and he single-handedly has been a huge linchpin in making that garage door space go up to a $7 billion overall industry. and he's got a huge share of it. He's trying to get to $1 billion and up, and really
He's on
build
his
that
way.
empire. And I think home services in general are really appealing to private equity because it's not going away anytime soon with technology and AI. It's only all that stuff's only going to enhance our line of work. We're still going to need physical people. We got a ways to go before we have the self-driving semi trucks, going cross country and the robots moving furniture. Although that may come in the next 20 years, but we're still, we still got time. Whereas like the tech space, that's been such a hot area for investors, but it changes so fast. And there's so many startups that come, and now AI is going to replace a lot of those coders' jobs. And it's just very unpredictable what's going to happen in tech, whereas home services are here for at least the next 20 years, the way that, similar ways that we're doing it. And it's only going to get better and better with AI and technology as we can start to leverage those tools. And when you have, the resources of hundreds of millions of dollars of potential private equity injections, now you can start to really do some cool things that just totally transform the industry. So I'm really excited to kind of see, what comes of that. And that's part of the reason we're building this Titan community, is to be able to leverage, all of these different resources from moving companies around the country and connect everybody together to open up some of those doors. But kind of switching gears back a little bit, I just had, one thing that was I was curious about was when you bought the raw land. I've tried to buy some raw land before, several acres to just figure out something to do with, but just to, have maybe a little, hunting lodge, getaway, somewhere I can go, do something fun or potentially build storage or parking or whatever, like something like you're doing. But it's tough to find funding for raw land. Did you have any trouble with that, or were you able to find like a specialty lender to purchase that acreage that you would later develop, or did you pay cash? Like, how did that work?
So while it's the terms that if you find a property you like and it makes sense, like as long as the deal makes sense, just find a way to make it work. As far as the terms go, I've done deals where the owner finance it for a short term and then pay it off later, or refinance it later once you have enough down. So essentially, like with enough down, anybody will loan you money because they hold the note. Like the bank holds the note until you pay it off, just like a car. So with enough of your own skin in the game, which is down payment, they're cool with it. Nowadays, it's about 30% on average for commercial investment. So I haven't really seen any issues, whether it's land or whether it's a building. If it's a building that cash flows, you may have less pushback, but like the banks are in the business to loan money, and at the end of the day, as long as you put your 30% down, they're good.
Interesting. So 30% on something like that is kind of par for the course on like raw land. Is that what you'd say?
It's pretty standard across the board, really. If it's an investment property, it's about 30%. They want you to also invest, and then they own it for 70% of its proposed value. So, and then they'll of course do an appraisal. So let me rewind. It's the 70% of the appraised value. So as long as it appraises for that, yeah, they're cool. Who wouldn't buy an asset for 70% of its value? I'd buy those all day long. So that's the same way the banks look at it.
Gotcha. That makes sense. What advice would you have for a moving company that wants to start getting into some commercial real estate? Like how much realistically, like capital, I guess, did you start with to get your first commercial real estate deal, and just like what overall advice, like how much capital should you come to the table with, if even if it's a small commercial space, like where's kind of the bare minimum that you'd have that you'd have to put up?
2020, I bought my first deal. I believe it might have been 20% down then. That was also my business banker who I banked with. So like the relationship was there. Big part of banking is relationship. You don't want to reach out to like Chase Bank or, one of the big players for something like that. Like if you work with a primary local business, like I would definitely start with them first because you already have a relationship. Like my business banker, he makes stuff so easy now. If I find a deal and he'll just be like, yeah, man, just send me over a new P&L, new balance sheet, and we'll go from there. And like they'll be working on it like very quickly. And like once you start doing a couple deals, they make it a lot easier. But I think it was, I believe it was 20% down. I bought this one for 1.1, so let's call it 250 cash to put down on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And
Yeah.
so,
Now, depending on the property, I mean, some guys like myself, I just worked out of a little strip mall. I mean, it's just this little bitty office. I mean, I'm sure I could have bought something equivalent for about 300 or 400,000, and then you're talking, 100K to put down. So it really just depends on the what size you're trying to buy. But if you're buying other assets, like if you have equity in your home, you can use that as leverage. Like you don't have to just all have cash. And now, like at this point, like I could go buy like I don't know, just a crazy property if I wanted to, like 10 million, because I have equity in other things and I don't have to have the cash up front. They would just look at that as leverage. It really starts multiplying and makes it a lot easier to do it more and more. That's like why most millionaires have more wealth in real estate than really anywhere else, because it's the leverage and you can use it, and just it grows like astronomically compared to other asset classes.
that makes total sense. So are each of these properties in their own LLC, or does the moving company own them, or is it like a parent company? Like, what's the
Yeah,
structure there?
they're definitely all in their own LLCs, for liability reasons. I mean, we have like a, umbrella as far as our insurance and everything goes. But yeah, it's all separated for sure.
So if you were to sell your moving company, would you include any or all of these complementary pieces of real estate, like the storage units or the truck parking or anything like that, or would you sell those out as separate deals?
I mean, it would definitely add to the value. I think I would make more from it, separating them out. I mean, because the moving company, the brand and the trucks and, our repeats and everything that we built has its own value. And then, like I said, the storage facilities is really the storage part of it is really the only complementary real estate. The other ones are kind of totally separate. But yeah, I mean, if nothing would be off the table, anything is for sale essentially for the right price. But ideally, I'd probably want to detach the real estate to it and then lease it back to the person that buys it from me.
Yeah, that would be smart.
Yeah,
What
because
about?
it's set up for it's. I mean, like my current operation, it's literally set up for a moving company. Didn't you come by here before?
I haven't. I think Chad was up
Oh,
there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I need
You
to
gotta
though.
come by, bro. You're missing out.
I know. I've been to
You gotta
Nashville
come to
one
Nashville.
time,
Yeah.
probably 10 years ago, but yeah,
Okay.
I need to get up there and see everything you
Yeah.
got going on, man. This is good stuff. Now, I know you're also been doing a lot to develop your own personal brand. Can you tell me a little bit about like what you're doing there on that side of things?
Oh man, yeah. Personal branding has been a big part. That's complementary to moving and storage and real estate more than anything. I feel like part of a couple of organization. Brand building group is a big one that I'm a part of. They're nationwide, but we meet monthly. I've got like a coach that I work with that kind of like gets through certain points and things that I'm working on. So that company will actually be the one helping me just really dial in my speech. 30 minutes presentation, just really getting it dialed in and honed in. That way, I'm just like super comfortable up there. So they're huge with that. Apex is another big organization I'm with. They're awesome. They're really big on the personal branding as well, as far as like making a post a day, for instance, is like one of the main things that you should do, just to build personal branding. And if you notice, like really this year, I started posting like once a day, and the engagement, like the reach, everything has just went up like crazy. I think not that I really care about followers, but my followers have went up like 4x just in the last 6 months, which is
Wow.
crazy to think about, and just because people like, comment, or share your stuff. And I try to give value when I can, like whether I'm dealing with a struggle in life or business, whether there's a win in life or business. Like I try to just be an open book and share as much as I can, because I would want that kind of friend in me, that I learned from. And so it's just really big, man. Part of just giving back. So excited to do that, every day, whatever little fun little story or lesson or business, challenge that I'm going through. I definitely try to share that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I try to do the same things. I think your personal brand can help open up the doors for this whole other ecosystem that you've got going on with moving and storage and real estate. On my side with the moving Titan stuff, potentially, building that reputation and eventually maybe facilitating one of these big, massive exit plans like a PE roll up one day. Like, what are your goals with the personal brand development? Like, what do you see that doing for you long term? I know Tommy Mello just told us recently, like he's investing like $3 million into his personal brand and his social media and everything. And he's did a pro forma that he projects it to bring in like $26 million in year 3 or something like that. Year 1, I don't know. We'll have to ask him more about that.
Mean,
like,
really just having more options, man. For the longest, like my freaking how I viewed myself was like, Chris, the moving guy. That's how people know me. But like, I just want to be known for more than that. Like, I want to be, synonymous when people are just think business or real estate in general. I want to just be more of a broad, type of person with multiple skill sets across, other industries. But moving specific, I definitely try to, dig in on that deep any chance that I get. But there's just so many other parts of life that people get value from. I'm big on family. I'm big on, like personal growth or like just physical fitness, all that stuff, man. So it's all important, not just one specific thing, man. So, I just want to be at least, somebody that somebody can reach out to for different things, or, it's actually opened a lot of doors for just networking, honestly, too. So like, if you want to know something about, who to go to for building a storage facility from the ground up, like I got to connect for that. Or who do you want to go through for an awesome, men's group for a fitness challenge? Like I got a guy for that, So it's cool, like when you start really putting yourself out there, like the people, like the cream rise to the top, essentially. Like you'll know all those top players in their own industries, and you kind of just can all like thrive off each other and give value to each other constantly, man. The referrals, and it all just works together.
Yeah, man, I agree with that. It opens doors for sure, and you just build that reputation of being. And it just helps you get to be that person that's in the right place at the right time, because I think Grant Cardone talks like money follows attention. If you can get the attention, whether it's something like podcasts or writing books or, speaking engagements, whatever, making social media posts, becoming like an influencer in that space. Like, people think of you when there's an opportunity, especially if you can really communicate your message clearly. I think that's awesome. So, as we kind of wrap this up here, like what are some of the goals that you have over the next, let's say 5 years with your moving company, with the real estate, with the personal branding? Like where do you want to be 5 years from now with all this?
In 5 years, I probably want at least 50 million in real estate, have the moving company really just running completely autonomous without needing me there. That's the goal. I mean, I probably would honestly like to sell the moving company within 10 years and just be completely solely into real estate and more passive things. Let's see. And then, just having more family and freedom time, man. I'm finally at a good place in my life to be able to spend more quality time with the ones I love and not so just stuck in the business. So I'm excited to do that. But, open to the roll-up model, if that's something you guys are really, really pursuing, that's definitely a good 5-year plan. But the future for the real estate, man, is definitely the way that I see myself going. Just over the last 4 years, man, I can only imagine what I'll do in another 5.
Man, you are truly an inspiration to me, and it's really fun to be on this journey with you and just, help each other grow.
Same, man. I'm excited for what you've done in the last, since I've known you, man. You've definitely blown up, and you inspire me in so many ways.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. I really appreciate that. And I'm really looking forward to hearing your speech at the next retreat in October, and just continuing to follow you on your journey and hopefully be a part of it in some way, shape, or form. How can people get a hold of you? How can they follow you online or just engage with you or reach out?
Yeah, Chris Knowles on Facebook. It's Chris Rolls on Instagram. Look me up on LinkedIn. Do mainly business stuff on TikTok, but all those locations would be great, man. Love to connect and look forward to hearing from y'all.
Awesome. Well, this has been an awesome podcast, man. Can't wait to keep talking more with you on this stuff, and definitely need to make it up there to Nashville to visit you. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Chris Knowles, truly an inspirational guy and we didn't even really get into it. I think we talked on the last podcast, but you came in with nothing. I mean, you started basically, from scratch and you've built this empire, and it's been so cool. I think you're going to really inspire a lot of people and just leave your mark on this world if you continue on this pace, which I know you will. So Chris Rolls, True Friends Moving, based out of Nashville, real estate mogul in the making, building an empire, both with his personal brand and one of the nicest guys, one of the most coachable guys I've ever met. Thank you, Chris, for spending some time on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me, brother. See y'all.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Grow Your Moving Company podcast. If you would like to learn more about any of the sponsors listed on this show, want to apply for the next Moving Titan retreat, or interested in owning or working for Two College Brothers franchise, drop me a line at wade@twocollegebrothers.com. Moving out. Have a great day.